Hello, friends. Robert Pepin here, author of the Caverns Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we're talking about the spell Prayer of Healing.
Was that better? I forgot to do it last time, and I got
The only reason that mattered just because I had a good one.
Oh, okay, that's a good reason.
Bad talisman. Huh?
It's still a really dumb joke.
Yes,
So Prayer of Healing is second level cleric spell, 10-minute cast time, which is a big old cast time, 30-foot range, verbal components, up to 6 creatures of your choice that within range get 2d8 plus your spellcasting ability modifier hit points. Doesn't affect us yet. If you upcast to give extra hit points, don't do that. Actually, I would just stop. Don't do this at all. This is 10 minutes for 2d8 plus mod to a bunch of creatures, which is normally not where you want to be on anyone, especially cleric. Cleric's got so many better things to do than this.
All right. The big question is, remind me again, how long is a short rest?
A short rest is an hour.
So if you've got 10 minutes, but you don't have quite an hour, maybe.
And you need to use your second level slot for this. So like, maybe we're in a world, and I wrote the spell off very quickly. Let's say we're in a world where you're like 11th level, and you got 2 or 3 second level slots laying around because you're a cleric, and they don't have a great way to spend their lower tier slots in the upper tiers, right? When they're regularly using their 5th, 6th, 7th level spells, they don't always have a lot of like, oh, I'm going to use your first level spell this turn, I'm going to use a second level spell this turn. So you might have 1 or 2 laying around. And then in that window, when you, like you suggested, Bob, have time for 10 minutes, but not a short rest, and everyone needs the healing really badly. Sure.
Well, if you're in that high tier, then, 2d8 plus your modifier isn't going to be as effective as it is, at the tier where you get this spell.
Yeah. That's
but I mean, and realistically, how often are you in a situation where you have 10 minutes, but you can't squeeze out an hour?
In addition, you have 10 minutes and find that it would be a good way to spend a second level spell slot. Like, you also, like, in that 10-minute window that you also have to want the whole group to need 2d8 extra hit points. Like, you need those hit points to be really important. I don't think that's a realistic thing that happens. I don't think most of the time you need to do this. So a spell that we talk about a lot, comparatively, is Aid. Aid gives 5 max hit points to 3 creatures. So for a second level slot, it lasts 8 hours. It takes 1 action to cast. You give out 15 hit points. This gives out more hit points total if we do it as calculator, right? 2d8 plus usually 3 is going to be an average of 12 hit points per target. So that heals a lot more, but you have to spend 10 minutes doing it, and it has to be retroactive. Of these 2 options, I'm taking Aid every single time, specifically in the mid tiers, because you can always know those hit points get mitigated first, at least, and you never have to worry about the 10-minute window later on. You never need to find those 10 minutes to get those hit points back. I'm honestly not putting 8 on my sheet that aggressively. Like, it's not anything I'm excited and like revving up trying to get on my character sheet. So then you're like, okay, Prayer of Healing goes on my sheet after Aid does what I also know we're going to need more hit points, and you have to ask the question, if I just spent better second level spells, would we have been in this position in the first place where I feel like I need to use Prayer of Healing? It's messy and convoluted. I don't think it's where you want to be.
No, you definitely want to use better second level spells. Like I keep going back to this. It's just never coming up. You're never like, and remind us why the short rest matters.
You can really your hit dice.
Yeah,
you can just spend your free dice, and people don't often spend all of them before their next long rest anyway. So like, spend your hit dice. Do it. That's free healing. Why not? The healing is abundant. You go back to full on long rest. You go back to basically full on at least 1 short rest. Like, rolling all of your hit dice plus mod is going to put you very close to your maximum amount of hit points most of the game. The upper tiers is not entirely true, but in the low tiers it absolutely is. So like, you do not need Prayer of Healing on top of hit dice ever. I say ever. At like the majority of tables that aren't playing 30 encounters in between rests.
And in the upper tiers where you suggested this might have a use, like, you're a cleric, you've got better mass healing options than this that don't take 10 minutes to cast,
that are instantaneous and get a bunch of people off 0, so they also do other things, right? Like, mass healing words once the level higher than this, it takes a bonus action to cast. That's a huge
to get
deal.
people up off 0. I'm saying there are other spells that will, heal more hit points.
The one that's a bonus action to heal somebody, you can just use that as a fountain of health if you really need to. Like, and again, to 6 action to cast, so you can like, if you got a minute, you can use it. And that's so much more efficient than this is. I think a lot of people put Prayer of Healing on their sheet because they think Cleric is supposed to be healer. Because they see, I want to be the healing character, I'm going to put Prayer of Healing on my sheet. If you find an amount of enjoyment for doing that, if you find an amount of enjoyment of, I don't see necessarily the benefits of this, but I enjoy characters being healed by me, I think you probably could be, again, you probably can make that fantasy happen with less spells, like just healing word, and maybe 1 or 2 others over the course of the game, like get a mass healing word. Again, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, the bonus action, and then you can heal as a bonus action every turn. All of that will do the healer fantasy better than this. I would stick to those and stay away from Prayer of Healing, because there's going to be a lot of times where you'll be like, well, these are my prepared spells and I can't really interact with the world because 5 of them heal and we just happen to never need healing because we have had a single short rest, or most people are above half their max HP, or only one person's particularly injured, and I'm kind of just wasting the rest of these hit points on other creatures. It's not where you ever want to be.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm looking here at the other second level cleric options, and
Spiritual Weapon's a good one.
well, you got spiritual weapon, we got hold person.
Whole person's a good one.
That's like if you if you've got prayer of healing in place of hold person, or if you're using prayer of healing, that means you probably should have just used hold person before and
mitigated 3
right.
or 4 attack rolls, sometimes more. Yeah, I'm not high on this. I gotta give that. I have to say this. It does heal technically a lot at 3rd level. So, like, if you are in a table where you are routinely seeing the entire group go down, and you don't, for some reason, have access to a short rest and then a long rest, if you're doing 4, 5, 6 encounters, it might be mandatory to have this on your sheet. That is ones of tables. That is a very niche set of environment where you're playing super lethal, high amounts of traps, high amounts of lethal monsters that are dying quickly. It is a very specific lane and table that I don't think most people will ever come close to seeing. I would argue this belongs on almost no new player sheets and very few experienced players sheets, which I think puts it at a comfy 2.
See, if it's that lethal though, I don't even think you're going to have 10 minutes.
Again, there have to be a lot of traps, and you have to know you can't short rest because of patrols. So we're looking at like a very specific dungeon crawling is where I would see that lethal dungeon crawling, like old school hex, or not even hex grids, but like, grid based 10-foot pole nonsense kind of dungeon crawls is where I would see this get cast more regularly.
Wow, you're giving this a 2. That's
it's not literally uncastable. It is just, it doesn't fit muster of purpose for the vast majority of character sheets, and it does give technically enough hit points that I think there will be some groups where you will cast it and go, okay, that shrugged off 5 hits over the next fight because we had 10 minutes and not a short rest. It did something, and something is more than a 1.
Hot take. I think Cure Wounds is better than this. Yeah,
they kind of do different things, but I don't know how.
I know,
you are.
but
That
like
might
I'm
be
saying,
right.
with all the stuff you need to be happening for this to be useful, like 10 minutes free time, not an hour for a short rest, and like everybody in the party is down enough points for this to be getting its maximum effect. I don't think that's ever happening. I think
Very
maybe
infrequently, at least
1 or 2 people need a couple of hit points, and you're not going to have that between 10 minutes and an hour window. That's where I think Cure Wounds would be a better use.
I'm not entirely sold that is the case, but I think that it is. I would probably put Cure Wounds on my sheet before I put this on my sheet.
So you badgered me into giving Cure Wounds a 1. I'm certainly giving this one a 1.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Again, 2 is something that I think this is by no means good, but it will have moments where you go, that healed a lot of hit points. It healed a lot of people a lot of hit points. You are probably better off casting almost every other 2nd level spell than this.
And you're better off using your hit dice, because if you had 10 minutes, you damn sure had a short rest. Yeah. All right. Let us know what you think in the comments. Like you
Am I
said,
being
people
too kind?
do like this. Maybe it's a trap. I think like aside from
I think it's a
aid,
trap.
this is the only healing spell I see in the second levels. Level 2 spell, cleric spell. So yeah, if you say, "Well, I'm a healer and this is what I should get," no.
I would really advise steer away from the healer fantasy. The healer fantasy should be I would recontextualize as the support fantasy. Your goal is to
Yeah.
help your team be more effective, not necessarily I really want to give out hit points. Steer away from life domain. Steer away from prayer of healing. Don't touch Beacon of Hope with a 10-foot pole. Like that's where you should be.
All right. Well, that was prayer of healing. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Let us know what you think in the comments. Yeah, like Sam said, I think people like the spell. Let us know why. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it, a gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description, where you'll find my Caverns and Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.